to the Live with Brandon Blakney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakney.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Got another banger for y'all today coming up, and a lot going on in the news world. Talk about that a little bit, chopping it up. Got a dope interview with the director of player analysis over at Phenom Hoop Report, Jeff Bendel, breaking down the latest in the hoop news. Olivier Sarr's a Kentucky Wildcat now. Coach Steve Forbes is doing his thing. Offering some really good prospects and national and at the regional and local state level as well. We talking G League, high school to G League, and much more, man. So y'all stay tuned for that. A lot of headlines, man, if you just continue just to scroll and see what's going on around the world, man. I know everybody right now is on that, man, Jason Whitlock's rump. And deservingly so. I understand that, he has a job and he's also trying to, put himself in the other side of the shoes. But what we witnessed was a cold-blooded murder. It was a hunting. And I have to say that LeBron has been known and continues to be known to be a guy to speak out. He's not shy about sharing his belief, very outspoken, and he utilizes his platform to really bring attention to some problems that are going on presently right now in our country. Sad to see, man, honestly. Hopefully justice gets served in that regard, but I don't think it's something that should pit the community, the culture against each other. We supposed to be riding together on this one, so we'll see what happens, man. It's just wild times right now in the USA, so y'all stay safe as well. A lot of news as well, just in pop culture as well, that I want to talk to all my Cardi fans, man. I know we have been waiting on that Red album. My boy, I finally understand now why we have been getting delayed. My guy's a father now, reportedly. Him and Iggy had a son together, so definitely congrats to Cardi. Hype for the album. All my Cardi fans out there. It's been a long wait, man, but at least we know why. It went down. In crazy sports news, have y'all seen this man Mike Tyson back in the ring? Looking like it's the 90s again? Looking like Iron Mike again? Out there throwing them hooks, boy? Them body shots with the velocity? My goodness. I'm not stepping in the ring with him. And then Evander Holyfield, I just read, is also coming back into the ring. Can we get a rematch for charity? Because that's what Mike's fighting for. Can we get a rematch maybe? Potentially? Keep an eye out on that. Two former heavyweights legends. Feeling like the 90s again. Man, it's just crazy. Guys are 50 plus years old, still moving and grooving. Still got it. That's just impressive to see. I seen Chase Jeter, man, shout out, made that move to Arizona, from Duke, selling his Duke gear apparently on the snap. Everybody's riding this man on Twitter right now. It's outrageous. Got a good laugh out of that. Also, in the sports world locally, we got some news. Well, was locally. Cam Newton prepared to take a backup job, according to Ian Rapport. He reported that. Could be a good situation. We've seen guys take that backup role and have to take over games. Nick Foles got him a Super Bowl like that. Teddy Bridgewater got him a starting job off of that. So definitely shout out to Cam willing to sacrifice, but he coming different. I'm still convinced. I mean, this man's out here working out the gospel music. That's not normal. So I'm definitely excited to see that. In the high school football ranks, since we on the gridiron, Carolina's still doing their thing in the football community, moving up a lot of boards, securing big commitments. Mac Brown and his guys are still added. Number 2 class in 2021. Got a good 2020 class coming in as well. Hyped to see that. One guy that they didn't get in state was Weddington High School, 5-star running back, number 1 running back in the nation, all-purpose back, does it all. Just really puts you in the mind frame. I don't like comparing high school guys to pros, but really put you in the mind of Christian McCaffrey, all-around game, catching out the backfield, shifty in space. Mr. Will Shipley, out of Weddington, basically single-handedly put Mount Tabor out the playoffs this year. He had about 3 touchdowns on the ground, like 200 all-purpose yards or something like that. It's just, somewhere around that ballpark. It was just nasty. Kid is filthy. And Shipley decided to take his talents to Clemson. Great move, though, with Travis Etienne. He's going to be out of there by the time he gets there. They always have a stable of running backs, but I think that they do good using multiple backs. Shipley's a guy that could be playing on Sundays, and that's no cap on that one. So definitely shout out to him. Very talented, and I'm definitely trying to get a chance to see Weddington again in action this upcoming football season. Seen in the last 2 years. When they came and played up here at Bank of America at the versus West Forsyth at their jamboree 2 years ago, got to see them guys. A lot of talent, man. Big physical team, and they know how to play some football out there, man. A lot of talent, so definitely be one to watch. Definitely shout out to Will Shipley. Finding his fit, man, that's the right thing. That's the thing about this recruitment process. No matter what anybody says, how the Twitter trolls feel, you gotta find the right fit for you. And remember, guys, man, these dudes are kids, man. They 16, 17 years old, making life decisions, and they gotta do what's best for them. So I understand how it is being a fan, but on this side, seeing it up close and personal, man, you just gotta show love, cause it's they're not trying to fit nobody. They're not trying to let nobody down. They doing what's best for them. So shout out to all the kids getting offers, getting commitments, especially during this period where 7-on-7s ain't going on for football, and AAU, travel ball ain't going on for basketball, as well as baseball, as well, track, field, everybody looking to get offers, man. Y'all keep grinding, keep doing what y'all do. Well, with no further ado, I think I covered everything. Let's hop into this interview with my guy, Jeff Bendel. Y'all enjoy. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Brandon Blakney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Got another dope webisode for y'all today. My guy, Jeff Bendel, Director of Player Analysis over at Phenom Hoop Report. Jeff, appreciate you joining me today, man.
I appreciate you having me. I hope you're great.
Hey, no doubt. We definitely got to get into some hoops. Jeff, one of the most renowned scouts around NC. If it's a player to be known, he's probably heard about or probably covered him. Definitely doing a great job. And let's dive in, man. So first off, big news at Wake Forest. We know it's been a lot of eyes around the program. Olivier Sarr, yesterday actually, Coach Forbes, mentioned that Olivier Sarr was the number one recruit, the priority for Wake Forest. He jumps over to Kentucky, looking like he's chasing those pro aspirations. Can't blame him. Good guy, third team All-ACC last year, but he missing now. You have to fill that void in the middle. Jeff, what are your thoughts on the front court and losing a player of that caliber? And how is there anybody that these guys should be looking at in 2020? I know it's late, or maybe should they just be going forward to 2021?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's late in 2020. I mean, their options are going to be limited, and I mean, they're probably going to have to throw scholarships at players that they might not have had all this not happen. But yeah, losing Sarr is definitely a big loss. But keeping players like Isaiah Mucius is definitely going to be key, at least for the short term, if nothing else. But they've shown that they're willing to recruit, and they're ready to start recruiting guys that could be big time prospects.
Now, I know one guy that we're both familiar with that did decide to come back was Odi Aguama. Tell us about the development, what you saw in the beginning, and how he's progressed, and surprisingly was a contributor to this team somewhat last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw Odi Aguama with the NC Red Storm, way back when, and for a long time, he just was kind of this athletic, quiet rim runner, and there was just a raw sense to him, but he was a fluid athlete, and that was really the big building block for him with his size, and getting up that Woodstock Academy, I believe, and then kind of continuing to forward his game, got him to that level, and he's just continued to kind of optimize what he can be and maximize what his skill set is, and really hasn't refrained from just being a shot alterer and a rim runner in that sense.
Yeah, honestly, man, I think a lot of people were surprised how much of an impact he made as a freshman. A lot of people were saying they weren't sure if he could even play at that level. And then, he comes in year one and shows that he can contribute big minutes and play in this ACC, which is, arguably the best conference in basketball, people would say. And you get Odie back, like you mentioned, Isaiah Mucius, who I think is a guy in year three that could really take another step forward. And you mentioned some of the offers these guys are throwing out. Keeping guys in state like Odi Aguama, we've seen that they've kind of offered some in-state guys, the Bryce Harrises of the world, Eric Vanderheij and these guys. But also they've offered some national guys too as well, like Chet Holmgren. What do you think about these early offers, the impact, how they're attacking, and do you think that what benefit is it showing going after these national guys as well?
Well, I think it's kind of sending a message. It's saying we're going to recruit with the best of them. I mean, I don't know that the last staff necessarily did that quite as well as they might have been able to. I think this staff coming in and aggressively saying, not only are we're going to recruit the top players at each position for their class, but we're also going to recruit players that Steve Forbes believes are that level of player that other players haven't believed, or other coaches haven't believed in up to this point. I mean, I just wrote an article yesterday kind of regarding this called The Domino Effect, and kind of the domino effect that Steve Forbes hiring is going to have for players like Robert McRae, who held no high major offers prior to this one that he just received. Same with Bryce Harris and guys like Josh Beadle and Lucas Taylor. But it is also good to see he's going after guys in the middle ground too, like Eric Vanderhagen, who's starting to really blow up, Cesar Edwards, who's really starting to just kind of blow up, and get in the mix with all of these other possible outcomes. And I think that alone is speaking volumes. And I think maybe they can be the next destination spot. I really do think that they're building the right foundation to go forward.
Now, I know you mentioned your article. I had checked it out yesterday, and a good point that you had mentioned was about how Coach was establishing, but also that he might be boosting some of these guys' recruitment. And, like you said, you see that ACC offer, and other schools come, poaching in, and, he might be not doing this, on purpose, but just part of the recruitment trail. How important is it to get to these guys first that we saw, the last staff continuously missed on guys like this. And, this new staff has come in while these guys are sophomores and juniors and already getting active.
Well, I mean, we've seen it time and again. The program that gets involved first at level X, whatever that level may be. I mean, obviously, if a kid goes from low major to high major, the low major school isn't going to be quite as in much consideration as if the kid was just a high major prospect and received high major offers from the beginning. Take somebody like Josiah James, for example, that we saw in recent history. That was his first high major offer in Tennessee, and he stuck with them the whole way, and that was who he ultimately committed to. So I think it's a big deal. I think it gives them a leg up on the competition because we know how these coaches operate. We've seen them. We see this happen so much that they wait until this offer from a certain level or league or whatever comes out, and then it's an onslaught from that point on of these coaches trying to go over one another to get set offers to players, and they're end up competing for the same guys. So, yeah, it's cause and effect. It naturally is going to happen. This is what's going to be the result. So it'll be interesting to see how these kind of unfold going forward.
Now, coming from East Tennessee State, we saw Coach Forbes obviously knows how to win games, and he recruits the area very well. Had Davian Williamson up there who, people are looking to see if he may be making that jump or not. I haven't heard anything personally, but just seeing that he's bringing that energy. Do you think that's the type of thing that we need, like, to regenerate the buzz? Because the city feels different when Wake is good, and it's a player's game, it's a young guy's game, and I feel like we've seen that as coaching in camps and stuff. Kids feed off your energy,
and there's a certain it factor that I think goes with the best coaches. I mean, they're not similar, but I think that somebody that I would compare this situation to is somebody like Buzz Williams was, 5-10 years ago.
Nice.
Going to Virginia Tech really was kind of had question marks around him and had kind of this just really electric personality and really just knew how to, get to players and whatnot. I mean, obviously he spent time at other programs prior to that, but there were still question marks certainly surrounding him. And even though he had success, and I think that could be a similar type of, situation and maybe timeline to expect from Forbes, because I do see something like that kind of arising for him. And I can see that type of success coming for this program.
Definitely. Generating excitement is one thing, so we'll definitely be looking forward. I know a place that they will be spending a lot of time at is Winston-Salem Christian with all these new names. And Coach Lowe, man, he's at it again, building. Tell us about some of these new players, man. I know this was a school that we had heard about last year that was kind of making some noise and some things fell out their back, and it seems like they're coming back stronger. Tell us about some of these new names. It seems like there's a new guy every day.
Yeah, so obviously Antonio Lowe is a big name at this point, and wherever he goes, players seem to follow, whether it be from Winston to Moravian to here, back to Winston rather. But Winston Christian is probably the most interesting situation out of all of these, just because they have probably the best facilities and that backing and everything, an all-encompassing situation for these players. So it's really a chance for him to potentially build like a dynasty type of thing, which is I think what he's been searching for throughout this time. But ultimately, I mean, taking guys like Amari Haney and Jordan Wilde, who we already knew from last year with Moravian Prep, he's already got two legitimate building blocks to work with. Haney's
a guy you've been big on.
For sure. I mean, I think he's been just underrated widely across North Carolina. And that's not just for me. I think a lot of people have spoken about that. So, but Haney is, reclassing tracks as a high major prospect and is giving offers and attention as such. And Wilde's kind of in the same boat, but more on the upward trend path towards that. He's really going to be a big focal point for them this year. And I already picking up offers. I think the Iona offer is interesting because people know who the coach is there. And I think that is kind of like getting an offer from, like almost like one of those high major schools. Like, it kind of, the light bulb goes off for other people and it starts to lead to a path of others. Not to say that'll necessarily happen, but that's something that I've thought of. But then other guys, Jarius Northam coming in, he's quick on quick guard, just really good with the ball in his hands. Arrington Jones he was already there.
Oh yeah. Last year.
Yeah. So he could probably find a solid role in the team, contribute. And then they just brought over Christian Cornish from Central Cabarrus, who
I know that's one that you were stoked about on Twitter. I saw that.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about that because for some reason, even being at Central Cabarrus in Cabarrus County, he just never got enough attention, notoriety, spotlight, whatever, for how good he was. And I mean, I think it was even more evident over the summer with CC. I think CC Elite, maybe.
Oh yeah.
And he's this strong, physical, athletic, really explosive guard. I mean, probably more of a wing, but the ability to handle the ball, create shots, be a focal point offensively, switch across positions defensively at 6'4". I mean, I don't know how much growth there's going to really be in his game. I think he'll learn how to play against national competition. But I think especially reclassifying puts him in contention to be a no-brainer Division I prospect, which is something we already thought as a prospect in 2021. So it'll be interesting to see because I think he has the potential to benefit more than anybody else from transferring in so far.
How do you think he and Haney could potentially complement each other in the backcourt together?
Yeah, so I think it'll be like kind of we were saying with the other two guards. I mean, they're going to have Northam and Jones right now. It'll be we'll need to see kind of what the final lineup will look like, whether there'll be another big and then Cornish will slide in at the 3 or the 2 or whether he'll play, Haney will be at the 1, whatever it should end up. I think he'll slide in, easily because he's shown the ability to make plays without the ball. He's a great cutter. He has great instincts. He moves so well. He uses his body extremely well. I mean, he shot near 50% on a lot of attempts last year. Didn't shoot a high percentage from 3, but has shown the ability to hit threes. And not being the focal point, I think, will definitely help his game kind of blossom, because his ability to, be a spot up threat is probably more than him off the dribble or any type of context like that. But, as a third option, being able to switch across positions defensively, score in multiple ways offensively, rebound his position, I think there's nothing but upside here. I mean, he'll have a great year.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing them guys. I know that's a gym both of us will frequent this year. Hopefully get them guys in some events this year as well, moving forward. Now, I know one guy that you were big on, I wanted to get your opinion last week, and I forgot to ask you about it, was a kid that you've seen a dozen times. We make the jokes because it's your number one school. You already know where I'm talking about, out there in Guilford. Your man, Christian Hampton, made the jump to Tallahassee Community, going down there to play with L. Ellis. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I stated on Twitter, I think he has the chance to have an L. Ellis type leap this year. I think, the only thing that's really restricting him from being as coveted is his size. And that's really, I think that's unfair, because we've seen that the size really with him doesn't matter, because he does the same things against all types of players. And I think specifically defensively, and what separates him from guys, there's this just certain it factor. I mean, I don't want to compare him to an NBA player, but he's very much like Marcus Smart in the way that he just wreaks havoc like no other. I mean, I would say unparalleled right now in North Carolina, or even the Carolinas, or even the region, with just the ability to just cause destruction and just make other players, I don't want to say intimidated, but he just has this way about him. Just, I'm gonna kill, and I'm gonna.
He's a dog.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there's no way that he doesn't have success. I think JUCO is a great situation for somebody like him, because he's the guy that works and works and works, and he's not going to be out battled or outworked or outplayed. So the results going to come naturally, and I think he'll have a chance to really get at a good school in Division I or even Division II, and really make a difference for a great program.
Yeah, I'm excited for him, and I think if he doesn't make it back to the Carolinas, a lot of coaching staffs are going to be feeling pretty shitty about themselves. I know two guys, speaking of chasing new paths, I know two guys that we were both familiar with that we've seen a lot, Josh Hall, Isaiah Todd, making the professional rounds. And I know this was talked, this could even happen a year ago. We were talking about how this could be an option last summer for either of these kids, just seeing them. What do both bring to the table, and what should we be looking out for as far as them developing into the professional ranks in year one, you think?
Well, I think their perception of things has really kind of, I don't know, put an interesting twist and spin on how we should be expecting things. I think the big thing right now for Josh, we'll start out with Josh specifically, is just getting into the league, getting into the G League, getting into the developmental system, whether it be on an NBA roster, which is probably unlikely, or a G League roster, which is far more likely, early on, I think is important, because I think that the growth that he can have under, we've seen guys, all-time greats, Kobe, KG, LeBron come to high school and do something like this. I think, but the ability to grow under an NBA system is what allowed them to kind of flourish early. And I think that Josh is going to have to go through a similar type of growth in that way. Just because I think, just for example, in 3 years of growth, I mean, what's to say that he wouldn't be better than a lottery pick, say, like Mikal Bridges, who hasn't really contributed yet and is already older than Josh would be in 3 years. You know what I mean? So just kind of looking comparatively, there's a path to where Josh is, on an NBA roster and contributing before guys who are getting drafted within this time frame, if that makes sense.
I mean, we've seen the growth. If you've seen it like we have, it makes sense. You've seen the growth, how he's grown in 3. You think about his game 3 years ago.
Well, and taking it a step further, the growth that he can possibly have on an NBA scale and on an NBA developmental team, everything that goes into what their training staff and weight staff and everything does is far greater than, and with all due respect to Moravian Prep and everywhere he's been, but it's just not, it can't be compared. We're talking, small bananas to big bananas. It's just how it works.
This is a job now.
Exactly, and everybody involved is taking it as such. But then in regards to Isaiah, I think, it'll be interesting because we've never seen him pushed. And that's what I want to see the most, because we know the kid has the tools. We know the kid has the talent. I mean, there's no question about any of that. I think everybody who's ever seen the kid play is seeing some of the things he does. I mean, sure, there's been questions about shot selection and settling for shots, but that questions will have to be answered this year, because there's nowhere for him to hide. There's nowhere for him to say, I'm going to take this play off because I have 30 or I'm dominating or whatever the case may be. That's probably the thing that I wanted most out of him in high school, is to see him say, you know what, I am not going to be satisfied until I destroy everybody on the floor. And I want to have 50. I want to get 60. I want to get 70. Yeah. And that's not to say being selfish. I just want to hit that killer instinct. I think that if he showcases, there's no question he's a top 10 pick next year, a top 5 pick, maybe even. I think, especially playing with somebody like Jalen Green might bring the best out of them, because we've seen him play on big stages, and he has the chance to be a number 1 pick. So I think maybe they'll have a chance to motivate one another.
I definitely think it'll be interesting to see. And with these new age forwards like Josh 6'9", Isaiah 6'10", the NBA game is really catering to these guys right now. Guys that are mismatches, that can handle the rock, shoot the rock, make those passes. If you get a do-it-all wing, man, you're definitely gonna be something special in the NBA. So it'll be interesting to see. It's just cool seeing how many games we've seen of these guys, the different stages, seeing them develop, and seeing how they obviously when they're 2 of the top guys in the state, they're gonna be compared. But we've seen that they both have chosen their own paths and continue to develop. So I'm hyped to see it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, looking back at all the stuff that I personally have written about Josh throughout the years, is just very, fun to go back and see, because you hate to kind of say we were anybody was ever first on a kid, but I mean, it's hard to say we weren't, just because there's just so much there. I mean, there was just so a long history of him playing as a young kid up throughout the progression, and Isaiah Todd is an 8th grader at top 80. It's been a great journey. I mean, it's been fun to watch. It's not over for him.
And we know hoops runs deep in the state, the hoop state. Been the hoop state for a long time. The hoop state's greatest has been featured in an exclusive, ESPN documentary series that's going on right now. Unless you've been under a rock in Mars or somewhere, you've been watching The Last Dance religiously on Sunday. Were you able to catch the latest episodes this week?
Yeah, no, I've been front and center every week Sunday at night. I mean, I can't. Even if I have issues with the way that they sequence the storyline, I think it's still great content.
I thought I was the only one, bro. It's like we're time hopping, like a broken time machine, bro. I'm like, all right, when the '98 finals, now we're in the '90s playoffs. Now I'm like, bro, come on.
I get that they're trying to emphasize that we're highlighting The Last Dance, and that's the year that this is all about. But I think that they could have done it in a better way. I'm not sure how. I'm not any way an expert in this, but it's just. And it's just all over the place, and it is kind of hard to follow, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. I wish that it just went from start to beginning, or start to finish with the whole story.
No, I'm with you there, bro. Like you really can't look away because you go to the bathroom or something, you come back and you've missed 2 decades. So it's crazy. But I like how they're giving everything from the perspective of different sides. I know MJ came out and said that we would think he was like an asshole after we read it or whatever, or after we saw it, like how they painted him. But I kind of think it humanizes him, man. Like it kind of makes me rock with him more, to be honest with you.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think it's really made him kind of somebody that you can just sit and have a conversation with. It almost feels like he really just, it gives, you know, how LeBron and all those guys did that barbershop thing. It kind of
Mm-hmm.
feels just kind of that. It feels like they're just sitting around just talking about the old times, and it's great. I definitely agree that it's humanized him in a way. And, you know, it's real. It's kind of authentic in a way.
Man, I love that scene. I kept having to play the video on Twitter, man, of the guys in the beginning talking about Kobe Bryant in the Eastern Conference locker room, and he's
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And it sounds like, man, if you like your relatives, you know you did something bad, and all your relatives talking about you at the cookout, like he just do what he want, and they get that and all your uncles and aunties
Right.
in there talking, and it just, man, it really just, I feel like it shows their bond and how, you know, they knew Kobe was going to be a problem from the beginning. What were some things that stood out to you from the episode that you liked? And do you feel like Kobe is our Jordan?
Uh, I don't know if I would go that far. I mean, I think from that portion of the episode, it really explained kind of. Kobe said it himself. I can't be better than Mike basically because I copied him. Like
Yeah,
without
the
saying that,
original.
he more said that. Like, um, and I mean, I think you have to agree with that. I mean, how
Hmm.
can you go against what Kobe's saying? But it was interesting to see kind of how they saw the greatness that early, and it was, you know, just kind of how, especially how it's funny how we're transitioning from what we just said, but yeah, it's funny how you see the greatness early and how they recommend it, and then they, you know, that I thought that was great, and then they go straight into talking about the dream team and everything that involved that with, you know, Isaiah Thomas and all that, and I thought that was, you know, that's obviously a storyline we have to talk about.
Do you feel like I personally met Isaiah 2 years ago at a conference in Detroit, and he was telling us about the
Awesome.
Bad Boy Pistons, man. You know, and all these stories. And one thing that really stuck out was like people don't know was that the Bad Boy Pistons were one of the first organizations to start hiring media of color and giving like media of color like open access, like when other NBA and other professional teams weren't. So they were, you know, letting them get first questions, which is, you know, is crucial, man, because if you don't get your
Right.
questions in, you know, you're not getting those quotes. So I thought that was dope that, you know, they played the persona on the court, but off the court, you know, they were all genuinely good dudes doing stuff for the community and hanging out. But he was saying, you know, it was like psychological war. They weren't the most talented team, but you know, they would knock you on your
Exactly.
butt. So, you know, but how do you feel Isaiah? Do you feel like Isaiah Thomas has been painted as a villain, or do you feel like people know that he's an all-time great, and you know he's not like how people wanted to say, like, I guess they were making like the Pat Beverly comparison.
That's all perspective because I think that he's been painted as a villain from, you know, in the larger sense, and I think even before this, I think he was probably widely regarded as a villain. I think he was just a great leader, and I think that's ultimately what it meant to be on that Bad Boys Pistons team because he had to be malleable to what the situation required, and he was. And I don't think that they would have won any other way. I don't think he could have played like, you know, Bird or Magic's teams did and had success. And I think that was kind of a huge point. And, you know, he was obviously the first player on that team, but, you know, they
Yeah,
struggled. They were terrible until they built this team around him that was constructed in such a tight fit way for him to be, you know, the leader of this squad. But he had to kind of embody this personality that maybe he wasn't really. I think that he's been forced to continue to be considered this bad guy when he really isn't.
yeah.
I think he's just been, you know, that player's persona has followed him negatively into the current day. I mean, especially in these episodes we've been watching. I mean, Michael Jordan can't stand him and all that. And I do think that there's some hypocrisy and falsehood to the whole walking out of the final or the game against the Bulls, the Eastern Conference Finals, and him stating like, so the Celtics had done that to us and we didn't. It was a totally different circumstance, and it was just him trying to cop out, and it was just he couldn't own it. And I think now it's too late because he's trying to own it, and it's just, nobody cares at this point. We already know what you cover about. It's some justified, but he's got a bad rap all in all.
And it kills me, man, because like everybody hears about all this stuff, and then you actually meet him. And I mean, Detroit loves Isaiah Thomas, so up there he's royalty. But when I say, man, this guy is big smile, shaking everybody's hands, people rushing him. He's taking pictures, shaking hands with everybody. So it was just a dope experience. I feel like we live in a world where people judge you off your internet, or they 10-second clip, or even if they heard something about you from somebody else. People hate you and they ain't never even met you, bro.
Man, even in this industry, grassroots basketball, there's people across the state, across the region, whatever, that have hate for us and what we do, and they've never had a conversation with me. I mean, that's just funny. But yeah, no, that's applicable for sure.
Yeah. It's a trip, man. Jeff, one of the realest in the biz, bro. I appreciate you giving us your in-depth, chopping it up. Let them know where they can find you on social media, what's coming up next for you guys, and also where we can follow your journey at, my guy.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me. You can follow me at Jeffrey Bendel _ on Twitter, and Phenom Hoop Report. I mean, just go there, find content. Email me, email Rick, email anybody. Just get in touch with us if you need recognition, if you need exposure in any sense. I mean, that's our whole purpose, is to bridge the gap between college coaches and players and kind of get kids an opportunity to be seen in every context. And that's kind of our whole focal point, especially in the time. Man, we're just trying to stay busy, and that's what we've been doing. We've been putting content and just trying to keep kids' names out there, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So again, I appreciate you having me, man.
Hey, no doubt. Y'all stay tuned with Phenom putting out videos, putting out articles, in-depth college coaches. If you need film, nobody's playing live basketball. If you need film, definitely check those guys out. Doing great work. Man, for all the latest and the greatest, y'all make sure to subscribe. Live with Brandon Blakney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. You dig? Hope y'all enjoyed the interview, man. Shout out to Jeff. Phenom doing some great things. If you want to know who's next up in the Carolinas and, around America, you could definitely tune into the website and see some things as far as footage, articles, the breakdown for all the real hoops heads. So appreciate you guys. Moving on, man, I wanted to have this little story segment I've been seeing a lot of. That's, it's just people curious, names continue to pop up, different trends every day. So I wanted to look at doing, a piece where we could bring up, random topics that pretty much come to mind, and it may intrigue some people. So y'all remember the comedian Lil JJ came out in the early 2000s, really rode that first wave of right before, just missed the social media curve. I think he could have really been way bigger with the social media, but my man was in some dope movies, in my opinion, with janky promoters, hilarious. My guy Mike Epps, man, I love Mike Epps, very underrated. But also, Beauty Shop, dope movie as well, crossover, underrated. Basketball movie, street ball movement. Man, was out there trying to get bucks. But we see him in Wildin' Out today. Well, I definitely just wanted to look at what's going on, updates, and let's dive in, man. Hope y'all enjoy. Hi, welcome to Story Time. Now, if you're around my age, in your mid-20s or even in your 30s, you remember James Charles Lewis III, a.k.a. Lil JJ. Remember, he went viral off that Apollo performance when we got to know him, when he cooked R. Kelly. Take a listen.
Now I'm going to cry again, and I want y'all to say, what's wrong, JJ? All right? Y'all got that? R. Kelly took my girlfriend.
imagine if social media was around that day and age and that clip was actually going viral. Like, that would be all over Twitter, bro. Memes, everything. Anyways, so my guy got his break from the clip, kept it moving, turned it into a few movie roles, as well as a TV show, Just Jordan, on Nickelodeon. Now, we all remember the set of movies. We got Crossover, a very underrated basketball film, in my opinion. My guy played up, was getting some baskets, as well as one of my favorites that he really stood out to me in, and that was Beauty Shop. Now, my guy has always been about the ladies, as we can see here.
Say now, mama, how you doing? Damn! You a nice little pound cake. How y'all doing? Y'all want no chocolate? Y'all want nothing? Y'all sitting over here looking all done up with things. So I figured y'all want something. Oh, so y'all just gonna float on past the brother. Brother can't get no communicator? Alright then. How you doing? Damn, you a thick one. You got top and bottom. Give me a cord. I promise my mama I'll call as soon as I fell in love.
And we also can't forget the classic, the hood classic, Janky Promoters. My guy Mike Epps, also Ice Cube. Mike Epps, super underrated. Love that movie as well. He's even crossed over into the rap game. I discovered this video it's been up about 5 months, over 100,000 views. A bit corny. I wouldn't personally listen to it, but I did give it a spin. It wasn't terrible, no worse than any other comedian that's out here making music for the most part. Some of them more talented than others, but definitely gave it a shot, getting them views. So shout out to the hustle. No hate in the game. So I was just curious, like, what was Lil JJ up to now? So I don't know if y'all remember that he made a post on Twitter back in 2018 to Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry had been giving jobs out to actors that were out of work. JJ had mentioned that he was, out of work, working a regular 9 to 5, hustling in between sets on Wildin' Out and different gigs like that. So he was out reaching out for a job. We do know that he's still grinding, doing his thing, but also checked out his Instagram as well. Still doing his thing on Wildin' Out, which honestly Nick Cannon has completely revamped. And it is just, he's taking it to another level, man. And I think that he's not only launched a few careers there, especially from the YouTube sector, but also I think that he's revitalized some careers as well. And he's had some really good comedians on there, Michael Blackson included. I think JJ is a guy that has continued to flourish. I think he was a generation like right before the YouTube map really took off, and he missed out on that. But he didn't completely flame out. Also noted in between that time, since he rocked the Apollo, he had went to college at Arkansas Baptist College. He was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, so his his home state, of Arkansas, and he has joined the Brotherhood. He is an Omega, a Q Dog, the big respect, largest black fraternity going, MPHC. So shout out to him, joining the Brotherhood. I myself am a member of a fraternity as well, so I understand the experiences, the camaraderie that comes with that. So it's just dope that he could not only enjoy, a successful career, but also live a regular life. Being a regular college kid as well. So shout out. Now, still 29 years young and in the business, it could make a comeback. I've always been a fan of his works. That's why I wanted to dive in. Beauty Shop was on the tube earlier this week, and I was like, man, what happened to Lil JJ? Whatever happened to that dude, man? Because he was really funny and got into the game at a really young age. So dope to see him still doing his thing. Shout out, man. We will continue to have story breakdowns. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Well, that's a wrap for us, man. Another banger in the chamber. Appreciate y'all tuning in. This will be Well, that's another banger in the chamber. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Keep tuning in for all the latest and the greatest, man. We're going to keep coming to you every Thursday. New videos dropping next week as well, Tuesday. Got some mixtapes coming as well. We just going to be dropping mad content at Hype Films, so y'all stay tuned. Appreciate it. And if y'all have any artists, local artists, or artists in general, DJs, businesses, just trendsetters doing their thing, make sure to reach out. We'd love to feature you on the show, feature your brand, get you some exposure, man. Appreciate y'all showing love. We doing it for the culture. We doing it for the people, man. Thank you again. And y'all stay focused out here, man. Subscribe for all the latest. Live with Brandon Blakney. You did.